Hi, my name is Chef Tamas from Seattle. I work here at the Mirabella, Seattle, and we're going to show you one dessert. What is a Garam Masala caramel filled chocolate bonbon. We're going to start the ingredients. The ingredients we have, the Garam Masala is a North Indian spice mixture, contains cinnamon, cloves, cumin, coriander, and brown cardamom. The mixture is here. We get it from one of the best restaurants here in West Indian restaurant here in Seattle called Shanik. The chef from Shanik gave me this mixture. It's fantastic, very aromatic and nicely we'll bind in with the caramel filling. We're gonna start to do the filling first. I heat up some water, okay, and I'm adding the sugar. We make the wet caramel. That's more a pastry chef using instead of the savory, the dry caramel. The wet caramel is made in the water, and we're making a syrup and reduce into the caramel stage. Today we're gonna make for that specific filling, we're gonna make a caramel blonde, but it's a light color caramel, not a dark caramel. I find that flavor goes better with the garam masala. Also, we have, beside the sugar and water what we start to cook for the caramel, we have a mixture of garam masala, we have butter, we have honey, and we have some cream. So I start to make the caramel. Let's do a little bit higher temperature. There we go. And we're going to use that and making the caramel. Why I'm making light caramel? Because as I mentioned, the spice somehow, if it's the bitter caramel, the dark caramel, that would be a little bit different layer of the flavor. I think the lighter caramel will work better. So it's always start to boil. You don't stir the caramel at this stage, because you're just making that it's getting thicker. The caramel just stick to the spatula, so you don't want to stir it. Caramel you never stir. Okay, just shake it and start to get thicker. Also, I will show you later on how to temper chocolate. We have different ways to temper chocolate, but I will show you one way how I recommend everybody the easiest way. So we are filling that caramel garam masala filling into the chocolate truffle shells. I purchased that from here in Seattle, buying that from Peterson Company, and that's a product from Nobla, what is a Belgian chocolate company. So the truffle shells looks like this, with the empty shells, and it's molded already, and then we put the filling inside. So you can see that the hole inside in the center, and we're gonna fill here the filling. You can do different chocolate filling. I will give you, end of the session, I will give you two recipes. One of them is a garam masala caramel filling, and the other one is dark chocolate and milk chocolate. And I'm using the new cocoa berry product called Alunga and Oka. There's two different chocolate. One of them is a 70% dark, the other one is 41% milk chocolate. And we'll give you a recipe for that, for a ganache, okay? So you can choose which one you want to do. So the caramel is getting to the stage, the syrup getting to the stage when it's almost light caramel. So we continue here. At the same time, I will whip up my cream a little bit, but I will add to the caramel sauce here, the caramel filling. So when you whip up the cream and you pour over the caramel, it doesn't have this very dramatic contrast when the very hot caramel hits the cold cream. It's very interesting. That's a unique technique. Just adding some air into the cream. So what I did with the cream, I whipped it up a little bit, slightly with the machine. So when I pour into the caramel, it will reduce that drastic over boiling. So the caramel is getting to the stage. It's a light caramel, it's not a dark caramel. And I will pour the cream in it. What I did, I add some garam masala, 2 tablespoons of garam masala to the cream, to the caramel, and I'm adding the cream in now. As you see, When I pour the cream in, the cream doesn't spatter all over. Nicely stay in the top of the caramel. That's what we do. And add the honey in it, but the honey is too thick. I'm gonna put it in the microwave for a second. When I put it in the microwave, the honey will become more liquid and easier to pour it in here. The caramel, I just pour in the honey and boil it for probably 4 or 5 minutes until it becomes a thick consistency. Now I use my spatula. See, there is nothing staying, because if you put the spatula in the caramel is very hot, the spatula is cold, and a big lump of sugar is going to be on the spatula. But look at that here, nicely just become a syrup again with the cream. I turn it down now to 150, and I start adding the butter. Add the butter in. We are just using our fingers, we're using all the senses. So the butter is very important, have to be room temperature. Okay? Alright. Mixing it in and take all the butter out from the container. Alright. Put that one here. And I find the whisk and I whisk it in and I put it back again at a higher temperature until it incorporates nicely the butter. So as you can see, all the butter is incorporated. I'm going to bring to the boiling point and boil it for a couple of minutes. And I strain that through the fine tea strainer or a chinois into the bowl. You'll get the bowl, the clean bowl there. Okay. As you can see, it's a nice light caramel flavor, caramel color rather. Okay, so you see that. So I wish everybody could smell this beautiful Garam Masala. Smell back to the spice mixture, it's fantastic. So put that here, and it's boiling nicely. And you can see the thickness. If you overcook the caramel, it'll become very, very stiff in the shells, you know, so we have to be careful. See, boiling up, bubbling up, and just for 2 minutes boiling, and it's reduced a little bit the water and the cream in it, and gonna be perfect texture. So I think we are almost there. If you want to know the temperature, that's around 103, 104 Celsius. 103, 104. That's what you're cooking for, okay? And it's nice and runny caramel, so you're gonna go through the sieve or the strainer. Alright, that's good. 104. Turning it off. You're gonna strain the caramel. You can see that here. So the strain out a little bit. The spice mixture wasn't completely grind, very fine. But every spice, when you find it very fine in the machine, is not good, because it takes the flavor away and the aromatic oil from the spices. So that was handy in a mortar, handy grind. So you can see that some pieces, residue of the spice mixture is still there. Okay. So you have the filling. Okay. So here's the beautiful filling. We're going to cool it down, and we'll continue how to temper the chocolate. The next step, tempering the chocolate, then filling that in the truffle shell, and finishing with the chocolate. So the caramel, what I did with the caramel, I put it in the RoboCoupe, and you see the color is lighter because it gets some air in the RoboCoupe, so it's a lighter color. But also you can see how it becomes much thicker. Every caramel, when you chill it, when you cool it down, it becomes nice and thick. Okay, so that's perfect consistency. It's not too thick, so it's gonna be easy to fill. So that's my caramel, garam masala caramel filling. Okay, put it on the side and start to focus on the tempering the chocolate. I'm using the Ocoa 70% chocolate, and I'm using the 2-to-1 seeding method for a chocolate. I find a bowl and I start to melt the 2 parts of the chocolate into the microwave. Will start to melt, and 1 part of the chocolate I gonna put in a RoboCoupe and make a fine powder. Okay, so 2 parts of the chocolate is going into the microwave. You can use stainless steel in the microwave. Don't try to do the same thing with any other metal. Stainless steel bowl is okay in the microwave. But it's very important with the chocolate, when you're melting in a microwave, every 40 seconds you have to shake it until it starts to melt. The other part of the chocolate I put in the RoboCoupe. Ready? Just grind it up. So it's going to melt easier in the microwave. Melted chocolate. So 40 seconds. If you don't shake it, the microwaves hit in the same area of the chocolate and it's going to burn, start to smoke and burn. So every 40 seconds you have to shake it approximately. So we're heating up the chocolate 35 Celsius, 35, 38, able to melt the other part of the chocolate in it. You could do on the marble. Sometimes I'm using the marble for tempering chocolate, but I think that's the easiest one. So that's why I'm showing you this one. So the truffle shells, we're gonna open it and start to fill it with the caramel filling. So we have the top part. Don't throw it out because it's a very important part. How we're going to close the truffle. Okay, so that goes beside it, and the truffle shell right here. You're going to find the piping bag. The chocolate starts to melt, but still I don't stir it because it's going to stick to the spatula. Start to melt, but I wait a little bit more. Okay, let's look at the chocolate. Start to melt out really well. I'm going to start to fold it in on the side and get into the temperature what I mentioned, 35 to 38. Using my laser gun to warm it up a little bit more. You can go as high as 45 Celsius melting the chocolate, the dark chocolate. You can go as high as 45. I like to keep it around 40, 38 to the minimum. But I like to do it 40 because it's easier to incorporate the cold chocolate and melt it in and temper it. So I still have some lumps in it, so I'm going to put it back a little bit more. Chocolate should be ready now. Clean nicely on the side. Always clean on the side, otherwise it'll start to crystallize the chocolate on the side of the metal ball. And you don't want that because it's falling back in the chocolate, it's not going to be smooth. That should be around 40, 41. It's 40 Celsius. It's perfect. Now we're going to pour the chopped chocolate in there. Nicely incorporated. Don't stir it right away. Just nicely let it sit for a few minutes. And I get back to this one. Now is start to get that's called the seeding process. When you have the chocolate unmelted with the unmelted cocoa butter has a beta molecules, and that doesn't melt. That's the last molecules what is melted in the chocolate, the beta molecules. It melts in the 32 Celsius. So nice to start to incorporate and cool in on the chocolate and get to the right texture and the temperature what we need. We're gonna cool it down to around 27, 28 Celsius, and then we're gonna heat it up. We're gonna work with it around 29, 30 Celsius. Okay, so I'm gonna do the filling now. So I get the piping bag. Wow. So through the piping bag to make a pressure in that piping bag and then cut the little hole. Make sure you're gonna put that right away in the garbage. Otherwise, it'll end up in one of the truffle or some kind of food. So we're gonna start to fill the truffle shell with the caramel filling until almost to the top. You could use a squeeze bottle as well for the action by using piping bag. So we're finishing filling the truffle shells. The caramel, just make sure all of them had a kind of almost the top to the end, almost up to the shell, I mean. Filled it nicely. That's supposed to go and rest for 12 hours. And I made some yesterday, so I'm gonna close that one. I'm gonna show you how to close the truffles, okay? So the same thing you're gonna do with the other filling as well. Fill all the truffle shells, and we're closing with the chocolate, and we roll it in the chocolate. You can see the chocolate is getting very thick. That's good, because I can see on the side, nicely crystallized. So I'm gonna warm it up to 28, 29, and we're gonna close the truffle shell. I'm gonna get the other one. Those truffle shells I made yesterday, so we're gonna close this one. Now, you can see the chocolate very, very thick. I'm gonna put back in the microwave, but very gently, because you can't overheat it. It cannot go over 32 or maximum 33 Celsius, okay? So, always press the popcorn, and every 10 seconds, 15 seconds, I take it out and stir it. We're gonna do the test. Every time you temper chocolate, have a little tester. I will do that with the test when it's melted. All right, so stir it. Until nicely melt, okay? Can clean up a little bit here, get the other piping bag ready for the truffle. Here we go. So you can see it's coming back nicely now, and it's start to melt. I want to make sure it doesn't go over 32 or 33 Celsius. Right now it's 30 Celsius, so I can go a little bit higher, not too much. So I have to be really careful now to make sure remove the side a little bit to the chocolate, so it's melting in with the center of the bowl. Okay, so still have a few lumps in it, so we need to melt it a little bit more. But the most important is stirring it, and try not to do that on the marble, because the marble is gonna cool it down at the bottom of the stainless steel bowl. So always put some rag under it. I put it back a little bit more. Ready by now. Try to get to the 32. See, nice and melted. 32 exactly. So what I have here on the side, a little bit of crystallized chocolate, so I'm going to remove that with the help of the heat gun. Okay. So melting that nicely, because we don't want any later on gonna. Back. There we go. You don't need too much heat here. Alright? Heat gun is always helpful for tempering chocolate. Just so now clean completed the side of the bowl perfectly. And you can see the chocolate all melted, and temperature of 32, so it's perfect for working with the chocolate. 31, 30 is also good, but for that one closing the chocolate truffle shells, I think the 32, 33 is very good. I'm gonna have a little test. You take some parchment paper and dip it in. Put the marble and wait a little bit until it crystallizes, put it in the fridge, and if it doesn't snap, I will show you, then the chocolate is ready. I want to keep the temperature, and I don't have a melter here or a chocolate tempering machine, so I'm going to put that back in the microwave. I don't turn it on, just put it back so the cold air doesn't cool it down my chocolate. Put it back there until I'm going to wait for a test result. So the test of the chocolate, you can see that was very shiny. Now it starts to like a matte. It's losing the shininess. It means it starts to set, start to crystallize the chocolate. At that point, I will put it in the fridge and leave it in the fridge for 5 minutes, and we'll see how it's going to turn out. If any line on it. So I got my chocolate from the fridge, and you can see it. There's no strikes in it, you know, no streaks. And it looks good, and when I break it, it snaps. That means the chocolate is tempered properly. So let's start finishing the truffles here. The technique I want to show here, that's why I actually did this YouTube for my colleagues in the PRS, because I want to show them how to finish these truffles. A very important part, using the truffle top, truffle shell top, taking the chocolate, and you take again one of these piping bag. Okay, pour some in, not too much. There we go. And again, I don't want to keep it out, the chocolate. I'm going to put it back in the microwave just to keep it, because it's very windy here, very cold. I'll put it back in the micro. Now, we're finishing this. Don't forget, the chocolate is more fluid than the filling was. So I'm going to make a very small hole here, very, very tiny one. Okay, go to the garbage. And first I'm gonna put a little bit on the top of the truffle. So finishing the little bit top of the shell here. It's very important, we're gonna put chocolate here as well, what we cover the truffle with. As you can see, that's why I'm using a little bit warmer chocolate here, 32. Otherwise I would get just the 31 or 30 Celsius, because it takes a little bit longer to pipe it in properly. So here we go. You have this, and you put on the top of the truffle, just like this, and each one you're gonna press it on. That's gonna, the two chocolate, the bottom of the chocolate shell and the lid gonna nicely close. That's gonna stick together and close it so it's no air can escape from the chocolate. So there's a shelf life gonna be longer. So all done. That's gonna go in the fridge for 15 minutes. Now, the last finishing touch of this chocolate, it's take all the chocolate from the piping bag, back to the bowl. There you go. Actually, what I do with this, I leave it here, and the chocolate crystallizes inside. I can just open the bag with the scissor, and the chocolate fall out, and I can re-temper it. So here we go. The chocolate is ready for finishing the truffle. What we need, you can finish the truffle different outside surface. You can have white, we roll it into the icing sugar, or you can have regular crystal sugar with some cocoa powder in it. But I think for this flavor with the caramel, I will roll it into cocoa powder. Okay, so I have some cocoa powder here. I have the container. I'm using the cocoa berry cocoa powder, but you can use other cocoa powder as well. I like that because it's nice and bittery. So pour some in here. Okay, by the way, save it here, and clean up. Put some chocolate here. There we go. So again, don't put that on the marble. So the chocolate melted, still tempered. That's gonna make the outside surface of the chocolate truffle crunchy. That's why I rolled into the chocolate first and then the cocoa powder. I'm gonna grab my truffle from the fridge. Should be 15 minutes by now, and should be releasing nicely the shell. The truffle shell is coming out from the fridge. Should be nicely releasing the lid. Voila, all nicely closed. You can see it nicely closed. There's no air coming through, no filling popping through. It's very important. So now what we're gonna do, set up the station here. That goes left, then chocolate, cocoa powder, and the finished product coming in here on the paper. All right, I need some glass for this. I'll show you a very easy technique. Instead of one by one filling in the truffle, I'll show you an easy technique to do this fast. So I hope you will find me on the YouTube future videos. I will make some, and I had some previously. We're gonna do some on macaroon. We're gonna do some different pastries and different chocolates. Try to show you my taste from Mirabella, Seattle. What interesting stuff we're doing here. All right, so take some truffle out from the shell. Put a little chocolate in your left hand, just like this. And then you put in your hand chocolate, a little bit more, roll it in, and dipping it into the cocoa powder. See? 2, 3. Make sure you don't have too much chocolate on the shell. And if it's too, the chocolate getting too thick, getting out of temper, warm it up with the heat gun a little bit. But that's, you don't need to put too much on it, just a slightly nice coat, and that's gonna be nice when you're eating it, when you're consuming it, it's gonna be nice and crunchy outside the truffle. And the contrast of the nice creamy filling is gonna be beautiful effect. Okay? So one more I do. And I wait a little bit until start to crystallize. It's very cold here, not cold, just cold air is blowing on above my head. So that's helping me to cool down the chocolate fast. Also important when you rolling into the cocoa powder, not to have crystallized chocolate, because that doesn't pick up the cocoa powder. It just rolls off. We just roll in the truffles in the cocoa powder, and I use that sieve to take some excess of the cocoa powder off. Roll it like this. And your truffle should be ready very soon. Just maybe takes like 5 minutes to completely crystallize outside. Here we go. And you can roll it in here. And here is your chocolate truffle, voila. Okay. Always serve it a nice. The bottom gonna be a flat part, the chocolate truffle, and the top gonna be a nice round part. Okay. Always serve it on the tray like this. Here we go. Your chocolate is ready. The Garam Masala caramel filled chocolate bonbon or truffle. That's a final product. Okay. Thank you, and see me in the future in the YouTube videos. We produce some more from Mirabella. See you later.